Hi, my name's Andy, and today we're on the Lewis and Clark Trail at Weldon Springs Conservation Area. Hi guys, so today we're at the Lewis and Clark Trail out in the Weldon Springs Conservation Area. I am surprised by the number of cars in the parking lot because it is a rather long hike, but it's a beautiful day. We just had some really cold weather. It snowed on Monday and now it's like 70 degrees and it's only getting warmer. So from my understanding, this trail kind of follows along the route that Lewis and Clark were on when they were going to St. Charles area. St. Charles, I guess they did their boating adventures that way. So they hopped on a boat in St. Charles. And this area is supposed to be a conserved version of kind of what the nature was like or the environment was like back when they were traversing. St. Louis, as we know, is kind of the gateway to the west and has a lot of rich history with Lewis and Clark, obviously. So it's kind of interesting to be on a trail that, per se, they had been on. I'm wondering if these little pond areas might have some salamanders in them. I really don't think that there are any fish in here. Fun fact, salamanders and fish do not cohabitate very well. Ponds kind of need to be fishless to contain salamanders, especially larvae. So this would be kind of like a perfect little woodland pond for salamanders and frogs. I also have a feeling that it's going to be kind of muddy today. So I guess I'm glad that these shoes finally dried out. So the last time I was on this trail, it was like 95 plus degrees. It was the middle of the summer. And this trail is kind of a doozy. It does say 3 hours for a 5-mile hike, and even for us more expert hikers, it still takes me around 2 hours, but I'm hoping with the weather being nice today that it does not take me that long. One thing that's going to be kind of cool to see is the different types of landscapes. So up here, it's interesting, the soil is kind of sandy, very conducive of Missouri floodplain, which we are right next to the Missouri River, which makes a lot of sense. And from what I can see, they've been doing a lot of management out here, cutting down a lot of trees. So we will journey on, and I'll have to show you how much the terrain actually changes, because right now we're basically on top of the bluff, or getting close to the bluff, and then we're gonna go down and then come right back up. I'm interested to know, maybe this is a question mainly for the ladies, but how do you guys feel about being alone in the woods? I will say that I have had more people, well, a lot of people, both male and female, seem to have a lot of concern about me being in the middle of the woods by myself. But I don't know that they would have the same opinion if I were male. I know that a lot of people ask what sort of precautionary items I bring. I mean, last year was the first year I ended up getting this, and I do have it on me, on my person, pretty visible at all times, so I think that sends a clear message. But I mean, I feel like we've all had situations where there may have been single males or even like a group of males that have made you feel uncomfortable. And I will say that I always make myself known. I always seem to be kind of talking to myself. If it's in an area that I know that there's reception, I'll pretend that I am talking to somebody on the phone, or I will actually call somebody and talk to them on the phone. But I will say the majority of the time, you will never have issues. I think most people who are outside in nature are there to find some peace and solace, and they don't want to mess with you. But there are always horror stories. There are always situations where you have to be safe or extra cautious. I do share my location with people that care about me. I tell them when I'm going, how long it should take me, and I do always call them when I am finished on my hike. But I have never seen solo hiking as a female as a problem, and I highly encourage it. Well, I broke one of the most important rules in all of hiking. My socks are bad. I didn't realize they were short. Having long socks, having really good socks is like up there with having good shoes and water. And so what I ended up doing is I pulled my leggings over where my socks meet, and hopefully that's going to be enough to where I am not dying at the end. But there's a possibility that I'm going to have a lot of blisters, and I also didn't bring any tape to put on the blisters. So Andy at 0, fuzzy socks 1. I'm thinking a lot of people probably just do that little path down to the overlook over here, and then go back and don't do the full 5 miles. And I would be highly surprised if anybody's doing the 8 mile tonight, given the timing. But the last time I was here, it was super windy, and it is very still today. So let's go look at the Missouri River, because it actually looks semi-nice today. These big, beautiful limestone bluffs over here. We were really fortunate in Missouri to have all this limestone. That's why we have so many caves and a lot of really cool things to look at. There is going to be way more views of the Missouri River, and we're going to go up and up. But this is a nice little hangout spot. I remember there's lots of little cool switchbacks that take you from kind of on top of the bluffs coming down into the valley, and it's really pretty. And I think I finally managed to not have any noise pollution, but I hear an airplane right now. There is a more remote portion of this that I am definitely, and there's a squirrel, that I'm definitely going to enjoy, or at least I remember enjoying, because there is no noise pollution. I do not know my mushrooms, so therefore I don't really eat anything I see out here, but I thought those are pretty. I do have the Missouri mushroom book, but I still don't trust myself, so we're just gonna look at them and say they're pretty and move on. I do find it really interesting how I am able to still get spider webs in my eyes when I wear a hat and glasses. I must really manage to get the angle just perfect, because how is that possible? So I'm pretty sure that's the Katy Trail. And I'm not super afraid of heights, but this gives me that weird feeling of like you want to jump off or something. But it's really pretty right now. And there are those small little planes. But really, really nice day. Not windy at all. So it's super pretty up here. Need to address this sucks situation. I am so silly. I don't know why I did that. I mean, I do know why I did it. I wasn't thinking about it, but long socks are really, really important, especially if you have this kind of hiking boot. So my plan is to do sort of this thing. Last time I did it over the other sock. Maybe it'll help. I pull up the fuzzy sock. Maybe that'll help too. I have been wandering around and kind of not looking at the time. I've only gone 2 miles and it's been about an hour. That is not very good. Because we need to kind of cover 5 miles in 2 hours, so I gotta bump it up a bit, which should be fine. There just is a lot of distracting things on this side. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew I was probably gonna take too long and then realize I was taking too long and then go faster. So that is now the plan. I think there's a boat coming. Yep. I wonder what they're doing. I bet we see them in the distance. Or, yep. Might be fishing. I don't know. It looks like they like have construction gear on, so maybe they're doing work on the river. Who knows? But okay, back to the shoes. Gotta get going. I don't know. I gave myself like an extra 30 minutes just in case. But 30 minutes means it will be sundown when I get back to the car versus it'll still be a little bit light. I mean, I can do the trail in the dark, but that's not super fun. So, probably just gonna book it now. There is some more other little scenic overlooks, but I don't think I have time. And I think I got the best view anyway. So, it's time to move on. Okay, I'm gonna make time for one more little scenic overlook. And it is probably the most dangerous. They do not want you over here. That's why they put the benches over there. But there's a reason why people have carved this out. And it is a hefty drop. If I fell off, it would be no bueno. So it doesn't even look that bad, but I promise you. I promise you, it could be really, really bad. It's a really pretty time of day, but we gotta get booking it. I've always been really envious of trail runners because, I mean, props to people who can run in general, but being able to navigate the ground on a trail and run and like cross country, I don't get it. You guys are nuts. You guys are like true athletes. All I know is about stairs like this is it means there's probably a steep incline coming up. Man, the vegetation has changed down here, getting closer to the water. See, there's ferns over here. You weren't seeing that up on the top. But it makes sense because we're right near the creek bed. I love this part of the trail because clearly when they mapped this out, they're like, oh, it'd be nice to have a little stream crossing. Little did they know. I think this is going to be a good spot for 30 seconds of quiet time. So I'm going to set you down by the stream and I hope you like it. Really hasn't been too muddy. I was kind of wrong. I figured all this low-lying stuff might be muddy down here, but honestly, this is kind of the worst of it, and everybody has seemed to figure out a path around it. So, Andy was wrong again. Remember how I said it goes up? Well, oof. But it's gotta be done, so let's go. It's like even worse than what I saw. She goes up and up and up and up, and it's super rocky. But I can do this. I got it. Distinctly remember this bench because coming up here is pretty brutal. I remember this bench being really nice, but that I was like way too short to get on it unless I went around the back. I'm gonna chill out here for a second and enjoy the view, drink some water, and then we'll continue. And this is a point in time when you realize why Lewis and Clark wanted so desperately to try to use the river system to get through this part of the country, because though it is not mountainous like, you know, Colorado and such, it's still pretty tough to navigate. And when you have the Missouri River, or the Mississippi, might I add, right next to you, it seems pretty silly to do all this work, go up and down, up and down, up and down, when you could just use the river. Actually very excited to see this bridge because it means I'm close. Last time I was on this bridge, I did take a photo shoot, well, a photo of myself. I'll try to like insert it here, but I think it would be good if I recreate it. So in the time frame of like after work, they did something like this, or like, I know when I start to see more people, it means I'm closer to the end. So that's good. We're right about 2 hours. It says 4.97 miles, so we're close. Seems to be the last hurdle. I can see the cars. All right, well, I gotta do an outro in the car because there's way too many people out. We're all just coming back from the trail, all trying to get back here before it gets too dark. But yes, the Lewis and Clark Trail, it is, my watch ended up saying it was more, I did more than the 5.2 or whatever. It's because I get off trail. But it's fun, it's cool. It was really pretty today. The last time I went, it was super hot and it was super windy by the river, so that was really nice that wasn't going on, and I did really enjoy it. Days are gonna get longer, so I'm not gonna have to worry about it being almost 7 o'clock and it's almost dark. I'm not gonna have to worry about that, so I'm looking forward to that. But when the days get longer, it'll get hotter, so it'll have to be more of like early morning stuff. But thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, all of the things. Thank you for going on a walk with me. I know we didn't see much today and I kind of just rambled about a lot of things, but I do appreciate being able to share some of my experiences. So I will see you guys in the next one, and bye.